calling all psychonauts. May you enjoy the days through the haze. Enjoy what is now. This episode of the Slightly Fuzzed podcast is sponsored by Bud Tea Company, a cannabis apparel brand from Maine. Check them out at budteeco.com. That's BUDTEECO.com. Or follow them on Instagram at budteeco. Tell them Slightly Fuzz sent you. All right, Sheafer McOmber, also known as Bloodshot Buffalo. What's up?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for being on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
I'm excited that you're on here because you have a new single. Can you call it a single when it's 19 minutes long, or is it like its own EP?
I don't even know, dude. I was looking at a couple places where I could put it on vinyl, and it's either put it on just one side and just have a one-sided half-ass vinyl, or like a 7-inch, but it wouldn't fit. So yeah, and I can't really split it up in half because that'd be kind of weird. So I'd say it's a single. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna play it in its 19-minute glory, but we're gonna work up to it.
Yeah, totally.
So let's start at the beginning, because I spent the last week or so listening to a lot of your music, and I had heard some before, but I tried to listen to a lot more, and I didn't realize how much you really had out there. Yeah. And apparently you've been busy in just like the last couple of years. Has all of your stuff come out in like the last like 2-3 years, maybe?
About 3 years. Yeah.
3 years.
It's it all started with just people just telling me that I should put my stuff out there, and I started doing that.
Were you just like playing for people at that point, or did you know how to record music? Did you have a home kind of setup?
I had a home setup, but it was really like, that's the thing, man. Like all my other stuff, I was just recording. Like that was just my hobby pretty much at that point. Like I wasn't in a band. I was, but not until like halfway, maybe like a year into recording this stuff, I started Dear Lord, and that's like a whole other thing, but it's kind of the same thing because I still write the stuff for that too. But yeah, so I mean, I started doing that, but it was just a hobby, and I was just putting it out, and I had just learned how to put stuff on Spotify and all the streaming platforms and stuff, and it was like a learn as you go kind of thing. And it wasn't the best quality. It hasn't been the best quality for a while. And I was aware of that. I was just not really trying to do much with it other than just get it out there for people to listen to. But as of recently, my buddy Dave, he asked me, he's like, like, what would you need to like step it up? I'm like, I need an interface, and I need a recording, like a real recording software. And I was using BandLab before, which is like a free app almost. It goes on your computer and your phone and all that. So I would just pretty much splice stuff together like that. But it wasn't professional or anything by any means. And that's how I recorded all my stuff. But then my buddy was like, well, he gifted me this Quantum 2626 Thunderbolt interface by Personas, and it just totally stepped it up. So I wanted to start recording with that. And I'm using Studio One, and I'm learning how to actually record stuff that's like in stereo and, sounds better, so it's like substantially better than the other stuff. But I've been doing it for a while. Just trying.
And how do you know to put in like drums and stuff? Was it just all like just messing around with the stuff as you went, or did you play that stuff? Do you have drums, or was this all like programmed in? Or
no, so I play drums, I play bass and guitar, and I sing. And I would just start it with a drum track. I would just improv, which is still the way I do it. Is just I improv just one take on drums all the way through, and then I throw bass over that, guitars over that, and then for the next few days I just kind of like clean it up, new revisions, and then write lyrics for it while I'm at work, and then do that. And then it used to be way simpler. Like now I'm spending days, weeks on one song now, and before I was spending just a few days. But it was just more of like a creative outlet kind of thing, something to do after work. and now it's turning into something that I actually really want to take seriously and step it up, you know.
Well, you put out an awful lot of like full albums. I mean, 15 some songs on some of these things, I think, and you put out a lot of it. So, you know, how fast were you going through these things? You're just pumping out albums like every couple months. You were just like, here's another album. Did you have people to bounce these off of? Did you show them to people? What were you doing with this kind of stuff?
I had a few friends that I would show them to, and just like a few of my best friends, I'd just send it to them, and then they started saying that I should just upload it, and then I started uploading it and uploading it and uploading it, and I didn't have any, like, it's hard, man, because there's like, record labels look at like how you release things and the formatting for the songs and the, like the quality of the songs and all that stuff, and like I was just paying attention to the writing quality of it. I just wanted to just get better at songwriting and progress at that. So I wasn't paying attention to the quality as much as just learning how to write good songs. And so I'd feel confident in like writing like a song a day or like 2 songs a day sometimes. And then I would, after like maybe up to a month, I'd be like, well, I got another 9-10 songs that I really like out of these 20 songs that I had just recorded. So I'll put those on an album and just throw it out there. And then that's what I just started doing. So, and it seemed to.
Did you have any
work.
sort of like, goal for what Bloodshot Buffalo really was? Because a lot of the albums sound cohesive, but like I listened to Civilian Assault, which was like a way more like thrashy, punky vibe.
Yeah.
Were you just kind of experimenting with stuff and you were like, fuck it, whatever comes out, I'm doing it? Or were you like, it needs to sound like Bloodshot Buffalo, or, so how did you think about it?
Civilian Assault was actually kind of a funny album because it has so much history behind it. I was in high school. I was in a 2-man thrash band with my best friend, Jake, and we just did like thrash, and it was just guitar and drums, and played a bunch. And in the local scene, it was just like we were one of the bands in the local scene that played shows all the time. And we fell apart right after high school, and then later on, I'm like, you know what? I really like those songs, and they're really nostalgic for me and everything. So I wanted to redo them because they didn't have bass before, and they didn't have any kind of like. I felt like, why not make a Bloodshot album that's called Civilian Assault, and it's just all the Civilian Assault songs. So some of the albums have that kind of thought process behind it, but it was more so just like I listened to bands, and then I'm like, I want to kind of replicate my favorite parts of certain bands. Like I see you got the Truck Fighters thing behind you there. Like that's my favorite band of all time. Like, well, one of the favorite bands, but like
nice.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. They're like, I mean, it's a huge list of my favorite bands, but I listen to bands like that and just on repeat. And then I kind of want to see if I can do it or something like it, and I'm not saying I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just as good as Truck Fighters, like not saying that at all, but I want to see how close I can get to the, the rhythm of the songs or like the structure of the songs or anything. So
I didn't make it through all of your albums, but I did hear, I'm looking at my list here, Void Rider, Black Magic Motor, Becoming Absence. Obviously, I think that was about the time we started kind of talking. Civilian Assault, obviously your new stuff. Are there other albums in there that like have kind of a more of a concept to them, like Civilian Assault, or are they all kind of in the same, I don't know, genre, feel, whatever?
They're more, like I think I'm trying to think like if any of them really have like a concept. Like I was listening to a lot of Asteroid and a lot of Truck Fighters and Electric Wizard when I did Void Rider, and I wanted to do like an actual like start to finish like Doom album, like because I was with most of the albums I was playing around with like a little bit of like surfy kind of stuff and like heavy psych and like old school rock and roll and stuff like that, but I wanted to like try to actually put something together with Void Rider that was like a cohesive, like it's all Doom, like actual just classic, my version of like classic psychedelic Doom. And some of the other albums, most of the other albums other than Void Rider and Becoming Absence, they're all pretty much just songs that were just thrown together. There was no real concept. Void Rider had a concept, or well, it kind of had a concept about like I really like storytelling with songs. So like Void Rider was mostly about a guy going on a Harley through space and going to some other planet and harvesting space dust. I talk about that a lot, and it's just some made up fake drug, but like stuff like that. I like to tell stories like that and try to come up with concepts, but not all of them have a concept. So, but yeah.
At what point did Dear Lord come into the picture? Was that like in the middle of these kind of projects or before?
It was like right around the same time, actually.
Okay.
Dear Lord and Bloodshot happened because I was just recording random stuff, and I would send it to Ryan, the drummer of Dear Lord, and he's like, "Wow, these are really cool, man. We should jam some of these sometime." I'm like, it blew my mind that someone wanted to play them with me. I'm like, really? Yeah, totally. Let's do it. And so we started playing really like the Dear Lord stuff right now is like really old stuff that I wrote before Bloodshot was even Bloodshot. And so, yeah, it became a band in its own, and pretty much we're going to take Bloodshot songs and make them into Dear Lord songs. And I pretty much just take like my parts, like, hey, this is what I wrote. But you're a better drummer than me, so make these parts your parts and do them your way. And I tell our bass player Jared, like, yeah, like just take them and do whatever you want with them and change them, like make them your parts. Because I want it to be our band. I already have my own thing with Bloodshot, but I want Dear Lord to be like a creative, like openly creative thing to them as musicians too. So
right. Yeah.
So I try to I try to keep them separate, but they're relatively the same thing, other than the fact that those guys just have total freedom to make it whatever they want to make it, and it's really enjoyable. It's really, really fun jamming with those guys and doing Dear Lord. Hopefully we can do an interview when we come out with our albums. We can do an interview with you.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, like, what's going on with Dear Lord? Because I thought that I thought that you guys kind of like, I don't know, broke up or something. I first started talking to you. You were so active with the Bloodshot stuff. Mm-hmm. And then Dear Lord hadn't posted in X amount of months or whatever. So I was like, oh, okay, he must have been in Dear Lord, went solo. Here's what, this is just, making stuff up in my head. But then I saw that Dear Lord posted and we're like, we're working on something, whatever. So what can you tell us about what Dear Lord is up to at the moment?
So at the moment, through quarantine, we were up and down, those wasn't, didn't have a lot of charisma because we were like, we can't play, we can't do anything. So, I mean, no one could. So I just focused on Bloodshot. But with Dear Lord, now that we're opening up to shows and stuff, we didn't have a bass player for a long time, like a set in stone bass player. And recently we got our buddy Jared, and I've been teaching him the songs like off the original Dear Lord EP. And but we have 12 songs that we're going to be releasing as 2 albums next year, and we're going to be recording them like all here, some of it in the studio, I think, but mostly here. And yeah, and we're going to be playing shows hopefully beginning of next year. We got like a show in January, show in February, show in March. So we're jumping back into it like nice. as hard as we can. So I'm stoked, man. It's gonna be fun.
Do you have a preference for, playing with a group of people and recording with a group of people versus just, sitting in a room working on anything that your mind puts together?
I mean, they're totally separate things to me personally. Like I mean, doing Bloodshot, that's like I just come home from work, smoke some weed, and start just riffing on stuff and mixing stuff and just kill time with that and try to be productive with music. But jamming with people is like and bouncing ideas off of people and doing all that. That's a totally different thing that I actually really enjoy doing. Especially with these guys. But it's just different. It's like, it's cool to get their input. It's cool to just sit down with those guys and try to make something really cool and
be able to play shows. I mean, you wouldn't be able to play shows on your own. So
that's what people tell me, man. They're like, yeah, when are we going to see Bloodshot live? I'm like, it's just me, man. Come to a Dear Lord show. It's like the same thing. It would be the same thing, just different songs. But
yeah, well, it's cool that you have both because especially maybe it's just with this genre more than others, but there seems to be a lot of like solo projects. I mean, a lot of solo projects, and they sound great. I mean, people have figured out how to do the home recording. They figured out how to either program the drums or just play a shitload of instruments really well for some reason. And, and they smoke weed and they play and they write and they, figure it all out, man, which is really impressive. And I've said this on the podcast before, like I am always so fascinated by like the recording part. I'm not really honestly that interested in like the playing live part. I like going to shows, but I don't know that I want to be the guy up there. But like sitting in a recording studio or even, my home studio or whatever, and figuring stuff out, writing stuff, putting different parts on top of different stuff and moving stuff around. That seems so interesting to me. But
do you play too or what?
No, not really. I mean, I have guitars here. I've played guitar. I played for a number of years. I can play a couple riffs, but no, I don't really play, and I don't have anyone to play with. And honestly, that's the part that is kind of holding me back more than anything, is because I'm like, I don't know how to record this stuff on my own, and I don't want to just sit up here and like, play tabs or anything like that by myself. I have kids. I have other stuff to do, so it just seems so pointless. But if I could figure out like the recording part of it, I might get really into it, So I think it's cool thing about like this genre especially is that there's so many people doing that, figuring it out from their home, how to record, how to make it sound good, how to do multiple instruments. And, it's pretty cool.
Well, that's one thing that I really like about this genre, dude, that I was going to say, like you were saying, it's like my new single's 19 minutes is like, and I told you about this too, is like, I really appreciate this scene and I really appreciate this genre and the people that listen and contribute and, write reviews and all that stuff. Cause it's like, I think it really says something about them and us. If you can sit through, if you have the patience, like, I think it really says a lot about you if you have the patience to sit down and listen to 19 minutes in a song. You know what I mean? Like, because like a lot of people say, oh man, like records, like those were that was the shit back in the day. And it's like, yeah, but like to really enjoy records, you just got to put it on and listen to the whole thing, flip it and listen to the whole thing again. Like if you can do that, then you can listen to 19 minutes of music. Like maybe not all the time. Maybe you're not going to just put it on at a party, but like, it's like that's what I really enjoy about this genre, dude. It's like, there's people appreciate the feel of it and they appreciate like, yeah, this guy records it at his house and it's just his mind, or it's like a group of minds that think alike in that way. And it's not held down. It doesn't seem to be held down really by, gatekeepers like too much. I've seen a little bit of like gatekeeping, but like, it's not really held down by like, you have to sound like this, or you have like with thrash, you have to sound like thrash. With death metal, you have to sound like death metal. Like with stoner rock, you don't. It doesn't have to be a certain quality. It doesn't have to be a certain algorithm. It's like, it's just sit down and press play and smoke some weed and enjoy it,
Yeah. And I had Empty Black on here a few episodes ago and they're instrumental doom. And I was like, I couldn't imagine any other genre really like embracing instrumental music. and this genre does almost too much. I remember like going on like Mr. Doom on YouTube and like some of those channels that post a lot of people's music and going like, God damn it. I'm like 40 minutes into this. And I just realized there hasn't been a single like lyric in this thing.
Totally. Yeah.
And
You're
like I would just
man.
always stumble across all these instrumental albums and just be like, there's so many fucking instrumental bands in this genre. I couldn't imagine another genre doing that.
Well, with instrumentals, dude, it's so funny you say that. Like, I have friends at work that are like, like I'll send them like just like a Dropbox file of one of my new recordings or something, and be like, hey, check it out. Like, let me know what you think. Like, bounce some ideas off of them, and I've heard it so many. If I had a penny for every time I heard this dude like say, well, really liked it, but the intro is a little bit long. I'm like, oh yeah, the intro is long. Have you ever heard an instrumental doom band? The whole fucking thing. Or like, have you ever listened to Dope Smoker? Like,
right.
Like only certain people get it, man. And but it's cool when they do,
Yeah, and I'll admit I'm not always the first one to get it. I mean, I've struggled with some like desert stoner stuff that's just way too like, I don't know, just floaty, just kind of like just meandering, just kind of all this stuff going on, and instrumental stuff and long songs or even really slow songs. My first reaction to a lot of that stuff is going like, oh man, like another one of these things. Yeah. But over the last, especially like, I don't know, year or so, I've gotten way more into it and started to kind of understand it and started to like appreciate it for what it is.
Totally.
And I was telling Empty Black this too, like environment matters, I think, more than, you can listen to classic rock in any situation, but like, you're not going to put on Dope Smoker, like you said, like at a party. So like,
it would be really
environment matters. Maybe if you're sitting there smoking and putting on an album and letting it spin and then flipping it over, like those kind of things do matter, I think,
I've always wanted to go into a bar and put Dope Smoker on and just leave. I've always wanted to do that. Just find it somewhere on a jukebox or something and just walk out of the bar playing Dope Smoker. Like, how long is this riff? Oh my God. One fucking riff for yeah. That's kind of how I felt about like, and I'm not talking shit about him or anything, but like I saw Yawning Man at Heavy Psych Sounds Fest, and that was a few years back, and I don't know if you've ever listened to Yawning Man or any of that. Yeah. It's like, I swear to God, I'm not talking shit, dude, but I'm like, wow, like you have to be a certain person to get it, and I guess
Yawning Man has literally been brought up, I think twice on the podcast, 2 different guests. And I'm like, I just don't get it. I know that they're like legends and that people love them. Mm-hmm. People really like these albums. And I've tried, maybe not as much as I should. Maybe I wasn't smoking. I wasn't in the environment. Maybe all those things really do matter. But the few times I tried, I was like, I am bored to tears. I don't get it, man.
Yep. I mean, it's like that's just one of those bands, and there's a lot of bands like it, but like one of those bands where you're like, okay, man, like let's get the next riff, like let's change to the next riff now. It's like it's been 15 minutes. Like it's cool. Like I there's plenty of times where I've put on Yawning Man and I'm like, yeah, like I'm gonna be driving for 4 hours, I'll put on Yawning Man just so I can zone out, or if I'm in a bad mood, I'll put that on and like zone out on it, and I'll just kind of stare at the road and just go and go and go, and it's good for that. But like seeing them live, it's just like, wow, that's a long song, man. And there's so, but it's still cool, and they are legends and everything. I love what they do.
But I definitely come from more of like the Truck Fighters, Queens of the Stone Age
totally
genre, and those are such like pop, fun, catchy songs that I mean, it's taken me a long time to get into some of these other things that are well embraced within the genre.
Totally. Yeah.
They couldn't be more opposite in a lot of ways. So it's tough, but it's worth it. I mean, if you can really sit down and check it out and stuff, it is worth it. And they're very talented, and it is good music. It's
totally. Yeah. It's I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, every artist, myself included, is like our hope for anything or for anyone listening is that people just put on one of our albums and pay attention to the whole album, like not just put it on in the background or on their phone for 5 seconds and be like, yeah, nice riff, you know, like if you just put it on and you really absorb it, you'll totally fall in love with it. At least one song, like on any of the albums from any of the bands in this genre. It's cool how like how massive this genre is and how many random bands and random little, you know, bands that no one's ever heard of, like how good they are. Yeah. So I appreciate it a lot, man. It's cool. I love it.
It's interesting how broad it is too. Just like the kind of the term, I guess stoner would be the broadest, but there's stuff like Queens of Stone Age, but then there's also stuff like Yawning Man. And there's also stuff that's like just sludge, just slow sludge. And they're all kind of under the same umbrella somehow, although all 3, 4, 5 different points of it couldn't be further apart from each other.
Totally.
Whereas like if you go to like thrash, there's people that just like thrash. That's it. You know, there's people that just are punks and that's it. And here it's like you could listen to sludge or Queens and then go to Yawning Man and appreciate it all, which is interesting.
Yeah. Totally different calibers of music. It's cool too. I mean, have you ever seen the documentary Desert Age? Man, I don't know. I feel like I've seen them all now. We've talked about documentaries once or twice on here, and I'm like, I think I've seen them all now. I don't know if I have. Desert Age is one of the best documentaries. It's about all the bands that came out of the desert, like during like Caius and everything. Like, yeah. And one thing that they said in there, I think that really resonated and kind of wrote the script for this genre. One thing, I forget who it was. I think it was Josh from Queens of Stone Age. I think it was him. But he's like, if you went to a show back then and you were a band that sounded like any other band, like you'd get booed off stage, people throw shit at you. Like
I do remember, I think it was him, and I do remember him saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that kind of showed everyone like, yeah, you can be a stoner rock band and kind of just have whatever, dude. I mean, Hawkwind had a flute player. Like, I mean, you can kind of just throw whatever into it. It's just a big stew. It's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, some people get kind of twitchy about just the name stoner, but
totally,
maybe there needs to be a better name. But it is interesting that it's all under the same umbrella of just like smoke weed, it'll be good, trust me.
yeah, exactly. That's I've told my dad about it before. Like, he's like, what is it that you play? Like, what is this genre called? And I'm like, stoner rock. And he just rolls his eyes. I'm like, okay, well, you just trust me. Just smoke weed, and then you'll listen to it, and it's this massive, mind-blowing experience.
Yeah, I tell the same thing to my girlfriend. She's like, what are you doing again? And I'm like, it's like stoner metal. And she's like, when's the last time you even smoked weed?
Yeah, totally, dude. Yeah, man. It's funny how much weed can play into how great it sounds. Like, I mean, I've smoked weed and listened to death metal and thrash and progressive whatever and all these other things, and it just doesn't hit as hard, man. You know, like death metal when you're stoned, you're just kind of like, chill out, dude. You know, like calm down, man.
So angry.
Yeah, so like mad. Why are you so mad? Why do you want to kill babies that much, man? Like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but like the music that you can envision, like driving through the desert with the top down, that kind of shit when you're high, there's nothing better, man.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of that's a lot of the songs that I write and a lot of the lyrics that I write. Like, I've had this kind of, that sounds really pretentious to say it that way, but this kind of like philosophy with it, where you hear these songs about feelings and about, breakups and about like life stuff, and like, that's cool. That's totally rad. And I've said this before on a podcast, but like, I've always liked the idea of like, because I grew up as an only child, so I had to use my imagination a lot. Like, when I was just bored and alone, it was just, like, come up with some like random little imaginative thing to get you through the afternoon and have fun. And I believe that when you're depressed or you're sad or you're, stressed out or anything like that, and you got all these things on your mind, and then you're sad from a breakup, and then you listen to a song about a breakup, it doesn't fucking help. You're just more sad. But if you listen to a song about a guy flying through space on a Harley, that has nothing to do with what you're going through. And for me, that's always been really healing, is to like listen to like Truck Fighters and stuff like that, like bands that I could say like actually saved my life and made me feel like, oh, I get it, or there is something that can make me feel better. And it's these guys from Sweden talking about driving through a desert. Like, you know what I mean? Like
100%, dude.
Yeah. It just picks up your mind and just takes it somewhere else, and you can just chill over there and kind of decompress. So
for sure. And what's funny is that like growing up in like high school, new metal was popular, like Korn and angsty, angry kids mad at their parents. And totally. I felt that because I listened to it, and I was like mad at my parents. My parents were like, "We're so good to you. Why are you? What the fuck are you talking about?" Totally. And then I grew up, and it was more like death metal and stuff like that. And I was like, "What am I so angry about?" Nothing. I'm in college right now. Like, there's nothing to be this. I was always into that music, but it never felt right. I was just angry because I don't know. And then when it was started getting more into like this music and stuff, I was like so much happier. And I'm like, oh, it's because they're happy. I get it. It's the music that I'm constantly listening to does make a difference to my mood. Yeah. And listening to like cruising through the desert music makes me feel cool. And now I feel cool.
Yeah, totally, dude. Yeah, especially when you're stoned. You're just you're like, yeah, dude. Space, man. Yeah, dude. It's
exactly.
It's healing. It's healing to a certain degree. It's
right.
I don't know. Have you ever heard you ever listen to the podcast Disgraceland?
No.
Dude, you got to check that podcast out. They're great. It's by Jake Brennan does it, and it's just a podcast about like just it's like he's like a really good storyteller. Like the host is a really good storyteller, and he just tells these awesome stories about rock stars and rappers and all that stuff. But he had one episode about Norwegian black metal and like the whole thing with Mayhem and all that craziness. And he was like, yeah, like when you like growing up in Norway, it's like there's not a lot of things to revolt against. There's not a lot of poverty. There's not a lot of homelessness. There's like back then there wasn't like, the government took care of a lot of people. There was a small population. Like there wasn't a lot to be mad at.
Sure.
So these kids just got like, the main thing that they got mad at was like religion and all that. And so they just wanted to be as like evil and satanic as possible. And that like drove them into that whole thing. And so it's like, yeah, I think that, like when where was I going with that? Yeah.
I mean, I guess like, how much music changes your mood and
exactly.
And how you can use positive music to feel positive or angry music to feel angry. And
totally.
I mean, black metal is a very extreme example of it, but I mean, it totally makes sense though. Yeah. It's weird.
I think what you were saying about like, like I don't have that much to be mad at. Why am I so mad? Like those guys worked themselves up to be like, to hate everything and hate the world. And that was like their whole music and everything. And I was like, man, I just don't get that. I just don't. Especially when you're from a place that's like taken care of for the most part, and you're you have a life where you're just bored. Like that was the main thing with them is a lot of them were bored and they didn't have shit to do. So they just wanted to get crazy, Yeah. So yeah, dude, but it's not like that with stoner rock. So it's pretty nice, man. Just chill.
I know. That's why it's the best, man. It's the best genre. It's
totally,
totally. All right. So tell me about the Swamp Records. You put out records with the Swamp Records. How did you hook up with them? Are you still putting stuff out with them, or they put a lot of like solo individual music and stuff? It seems like, right?
Yeah, Fuzzy Cracklins. Fuzzy Cracklin presents. They have a lot of really good bands. And it seems like it's a lot of the bands on Swamp Records and that whole label. Like I think Blackjack Mountain is one that I was listening to a lot, but it's like they're just like Frog Lord. I don't know if you ever listen to Frog Lord, but like Frog Lord, like that's just one dude. Blackjack Mountain's not, but like what is it? Green Hog Band. That's not one guy, but like they're all kind of just like normal people, and it's cool to see a label putting out music from normal people. Like,
Yeah.
so I gravitated towards that, and I thought that was really cool. There's a few labels that do that, and seem to put out music like that. Because it seems like a lot of people in this genre are like pretty normal people, like just regular dudes that have regular lives. It's not like this like egotistical rock star lifestyle. It's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
but I linked up with Fuzzy Cracklins. It's cool because he, at the time, I know he recently moved, but he lived kind of like, it was like 45 minutes away from me, and I just didn't know that at all.
Oh yeah.
It's like, really? Like, wow. He lived in the Bay Area, and I live in the North Bay, and so that was cool, and it was cool to know that, like, you know, someone was interested and everything. And he put out or Swamp Records put out Becoming Absence. So that was really cool. That's always been like my main dream in life, is to have my music on a vinyl, like just make something to put on vinyl and have it sound good enough to be on vinyl and have people want to buy it. And that's like my dream. Like that's kind of where the dream starts and ends. So it's kind of what I'm working towards. But with him, it was my first chance to have some kind of physical media. And we put it out on CD, and I was blown away by how many people bought it. And I was like, wow, really? You guys want to buy really? Like, it's not that I'm not confident in it, but it's like, it's still something I'm adjusting to, is people being interested in my music. So
Yeah.
it was cool to work with Swamp Records, and I hope to work with them again. That'd be awesome with new albums and stuff, you know?
Yeah. So then after that was Freedom Through Levitation, which was kind of around the time that you and I started talking a little bit, and I put out a goofy artwork to help people find that one.
Totally.
Was that for any other purpose? Was that just a single? Did you have, album aspirations at that point, or what was that exactly?
That was just a single. I think so right now I'm kind of I'm getting stuff together to be able to put out this studio. I went into the studio a few months back, and it's my first time actually going outside of the home studio setup. And actually, this was before I got this updated setup, but went to an actual studio out in Sonoma, California, and got to record on this beautiful ranch in the basement of a winery. And it was like just amazing. It's got amazing production on it and all that. But right now we're just in the stages right now, mixing everything. So I think building up to that, I'm just going to be dropping a few singles here and there, or like I've been working on another little, it's 2 songs. I might put them out together, but or 3. I don't know if I'll include the third one, but I'm just going to put out little things here and there until this actual album, and that'll be the album that I really, really push. It's called Electric Trinity, and I think it's 6 songs, and yeah, so that's my next thing that I'm working towards. But all the stuff that I'm putting out, and Freedom Through Levitation and all that, was just singles, just to keep putting something out, until then. So just trying to stay relevant.
Well, I love that song, man, and I think it did have a different quality to it. I mean, I don't know, listening to the other stuff that you have out there, even up until Becoming Absence, but I could tell a little difference on Becoming Absence too, I feel like. But then I feel like Freedom Through Levitation took another corner. And then now with this new single, I don't even know if we've said the name of it yet, but it's Red Star Blue Mass. It kind of follows that same vein of Freedom Through Levitation, just in sound, maybe quality. I don't know, like sound quality or something. But I mean, I feel like you're heading in this direction that's going to be like this really massive album. And
Yeah,
I mean, it definitely sounds like you're heading in the right direction.
thank you. I appreciate that a lot, man. That's rad to hear that. I'm trying to
Obviously nothing against any of the other material that I
no,
heard.
yeah,
But I'm just saying, like,
totally, yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like I said in the beginning, dude. Like Bloodshot is pretty much like a timeline of me learning how to record.
yeah,
And every time I record something, I look at the last thing I recorded and I'm like, that sounds like shit compared to this. So like, and then I go to the next one. I'm like, well, that even sounded like shit. And so I'm trying to learn, and it's all self-taught stuff. Other than that album, Electric Trinity, that I'm going to be putting out hopefully next year. It's all been just me doing my own thing at home, and I'm learning, and I appreciate any help or any support or anything from anyone who wants to teach me anything with it. And but for the most part, it's just been just like pretty much just logging. Like, I learned this new thing, so I'm gonna apply that, and this new thing, I'm gonna apply that. Like
sure, yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that you notice, and hopefully others notice that it's going up in quality. It's come a long way from my first album, Psychedelic Roadkill. So yeah, I'm stoked, man.
So let's check out this new single, if you want to call it a single, a 19-minute single. Let's check out Red Star Blue Mass.
Right on.
So, all right, that was Red Star Blue Mass. Tell
Glad
us
you got through it.
what, huh?
Glad you got through it. If you got this far, right on. Yeah.
What made you want to create a 19-minute epic psychedelic doom song?
Nothing. I wish there was a story behind it, but there isn't. I got really stoned and just started playing drums. Honestly, I just started playing just improving beats on drums, and I'm sitting there and I'm sweating and I'm just totally out of it, just drumming. And I look over, I'm like, oh shit, 19 minutes? No way. I was 19 minutes deep, and I'm like, okay, I should probably wrap this up. That's why it's 19 minutes.
It's an interesting song though, because there's a long intro, kind of like Freedom Through Levitation, but there's almost like this almost catchy, like more upbeat part, maybe even more upbeat than Freedom. And then it goes off on like the real like trip after that,
Totally.
But there is like this like little song there for a while too.
Yeah. I tried to the song is about the sun going out and what life would be like during that process of the sun going out and turning into basically like a blue supernova in the sky and Earth freezing over and all that stuff. And I think that concepts like that should have like a lot of gravity behind it, no pun intended. Should have like a lot of, like it should be a long song with a lot of different parts, because I feel like if that were to happen, for the sun were to fucking explode, then a lot of different things would happen, and it would be long, and it would take a long time for everything to die off, and there would be a lot of stages that it would go through. And I kind of wanted to paint that, and that's why I made the concept. Well, the song itself was 19 minutes. I'm like, well, it's got to be a concept that matches that, So
yeah,
I broke it up into a few different songs. You could probably break that song up into 3 songs, like if you wanted to,
sure.
But yeah, man. But I'm glad you liked it, dude.
I did like it. It's very cool, and I like I said before, like long stuff is not always easy to digest, but I think if you put the time in, like it's a very cool concept, and it sounds cool, and it does take you kind of on this ride, which is rad.
Totally. Yeah, I showed it to my buddy, the guy that does Fuzz Worshipper, and he's like, yeah, that didn't feel like 19 minutes. Like it
doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do. If it's going to be long, like I want it to be engaging and have it not be like I said before, I've listened to Yawning Man before, and their songs are really long, and plenty of other bands like that. I mean, there's plenty of bands like that where it's like it's a long song, but you got to do a bunch of shit in the long song. I feel like just doing one riff, like a lot of the older doom bands did, like just a couple simple riffs. I don't know. I feel like if someone's gonna listen to your 19-minute song, it should have a lot of parts in it. So
Yeah.
keep
Well,
it
and to bring up like the instrumental thing again, I guess, talking to Empty Black, I was like, I think my problem with instrumental music is that sometimes it just sounds like songs that are missing vocals.
Mhm.
Whereas like with Empty Black's EP that they put out, I didn't feel that. They didn't have like this like structure of like verse, chorus, verse of just instruments. It didn't feel like that. I wasn't sitting there going like, God, it just sounds like you didn't have a singer. It felt like the music was taking you through the song, and there was no verse, chorus, verse. It was like this journey, each song on its own. And I feel like that's how you have to approach long songs and instrumental songs, that you have to imagine that there was never supposed to be any vocals here. It has to be interesting on its own,
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's actually how I felt. Like I absolutely, well, you can't really see it in the background, but Telekinetic Yeti, I got like one of their posters up there, but with their album, like they only have one album out, but a lot of their songs were instrumental, and a couple of them had vocals and just random little parts. But like, I was like, dude, like, I don't know if you've listened to that album, but
I was just listening to it like 2 days ago. It came up on Spotify and I listened to it.
Yeah, and I love that band. I fucking totally love that band. I love the new thing that came out of it, Twin Wizard, with the drummer. He started a new thing. But like, putting vocals over that shit just like made it pop. And there were some parts where I was like, like, it sounds fucking amazing, but if you could throw in vocals on top of all of that, it does the trick for some bands. But some bands, like what was it, Empty Black? Yeah, like them, like, that's like, if you don't need vocals, don't put them in, but yeah, if you're not gonna have vocals, it should have
it should be different. It shouldn't just be the same songs minus vocals. It should be different. I think it's very different. The approach has to be different, and the product has to be different. But
totally.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you. I mean, I might have to have you back a second time to talk about some of this other stuff. But I did want to ask you about the videos that you make.
Oh God!
Oh man! Because I watched some, like, I don't know, a while back, months ago or something, and I was like, oh, he makes funny videos. That's cool. But then I was watching them today, dude, and I was dying. It was it was the COVID one where the dude I was laughing so hard, man. I mean, you're such a fucking goofy dude. Like, these videos are so ridiculous.
Shit. I'm really glad to hear that. I'm glad that you have seen those. Yeah, I have one channel. I don't know if you've seen it, the Oh So Dirty channel.
No.
I do that one. It's just all funny videos with my buddy Cody. He owns the Dirty. It's a dive bar in Santa Rosa, and we make stupid videos, and we have a whole page. It's Oh So Dirty it's like OHH.so.dirty, and yeah, we just make stupid videos, and I've been making stupid videos since I was like 13, and I fucking have no idea why I make those videos.
I mean, they're so ridiculous, but they're really funny, man. I mean, they're so simple. It's like they're short enough where you can just sit there and just like keep watching them. And the COVID one, like, what the fuck were you thinking with the COVID one where he calls him and he's like, I don't know, what does the friend say? What does the friend say that he says?
Oh my God,
something about being dirty or something, right? Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, he's like
dirty down there.
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, like, you gotta get checked, man. Well, what do I need to get checked for? Like, he just starts going into like, oh, he has some venereal disease. Yeah, and he's like, I'm dirty. I'm fucking so stupid.
Oh, it made me laugh so hard, man.
Yeah,
and like, it looked like you were like starting to laugh like as you're recording some of these parts, and it made me laugh even harder because even you like knew it was so dumb. I loved it.
Yeah, I just kind of go back and forth. Like, obviously, I do one over here talking to me over here, and sometimes I like, it's all totally off the top of my head. I'm like, I don't plan it out or anything. I just do it, and it makes me laugh sometimes. And my girlfriend tells me sometimes, she's like, don't take those parts out. It's funnier when you laugh at it. I'm like, okay, whatever,
Yeah, but, yeah. Sometimes for sure, it definitely adds like this. Like, that's why people love blooper reels and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm glad you like them. Were so funny. I'm trying to think of what the other one was that really had me laughing. The one where you're doing push-ups was really funny. Even the one with like the big tuba made me laugh. And God, I don't know if that's the one that I was thinking of, but there was another one that I was just like, this is fucking ridiculous. I love it.
The tuba one was with someone else, right?
Yeah.
That's Cody. So that's the guy that I do the Oh So Dirty with. And yeah, you should check out. I'll send that to you after we're done here. But it's It's ridiculous, and it's a lot
Did
of
you
fun.
have aspirations of like being some sort of like,
No,
comedic actor or comedian or writer or anything? You're fucking around.
no, I I don't have any aspiration. I had aspirations of doing stand up at one point, but I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm like, I've thought about it at times, but I'm like, I'm not. I don't know. You have to think that you're funny enough to do some shit like that. I think I'm funny enough to do stupid videos, but um, yeah, there's some people that's like I play music. That's my thing. Some people, their thing is to get on stage and be an actor and be funny like that, like, and I would just freeze. I'm like, I'm not that funny, man. You should just watch my videos. Like,
I
so
just remembered what video it was that was making me laugh. It was where you had the guy take your picture and you're like, fuck this fucking wall, man. Fuck this wall.
yeah, just yeah, I think about dude, I make these videos and then I post them and then people are like, dude, that was a funny video. I'm like, what did I do in it? I'm like, I forgot what I did, and I'm like, oh fuck, I posted that, god. And then people are like, don't take it down. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I'll leave it up, whatever. I don't care. I don't have any fucking dignity about it, man. I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
My mom saw it one time. She saw some of those videos. She's like, don't you ever think like someone's gonna watch one of these fucking videos and think like this guy's fucking crazy? I'm like, yeah, I don't care, man. Like, dude, if someone judges me on my videos, I'm like, I guess you just don't get it, man. Same with my music. If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's
Yeah.
but if you
But they're
do,
very innocent
right on.
too. I mean, they're not like offensive or crude or anything, really. I mean, they're just so fucking like goofy.
Yeah,
They really fucking made me laugh, man.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm glad. That's that's my other thing. I like music and I like comedy, dude. And that's I think.
well, the other thing that I wanted to ask you about was your art too, because I had sent you some
Oh, yeah.
messages about your art, and you're a very talented artist. And
Thank you.
I'm assuming you did like the artwork for Dear Lord too, right? It's kind of got your style in it.
I did not. My
Oh,
friend Emily Strong, she did it. She's a tattoo artist. But I've also gone to a couple of I am not even going to try to say their names because like a couple of these guys in Indonesia, like Steven Yoda or whatever, I don't
yeah.
even know, like guys like that do that kind of stuff. I've gone to a couple of them and they've done art for me, but yeah, I just get on like I don't know, I just get a random itch sometimes to just do some random art, and I got on this role of like not. I think it was right before I got this interface, and I was like, instead of recording music every day, I'm just going to start drawing random shit every day. And so I started doing that, but then I got this interface, so now I don't do that as much. But I've been drawing since I was in like 4th grade, just random stuff, and yeah, but I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
I mean, you kind of have your own style, and it's cool. It's
Thank you.
unique, but like I don't know, it's just got its own vibe to it. I really dig it.
Yeah, thank you, dude. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah,
I wanted you to draw something for Slightly Fuzzed, and you haven't done it, but otherwise, it's very cool.
yeah, dude. And you know what? Here, I'll make you a promise. I haven't drawn anything in a while. But the next thing I'll draw is for you. Because I'm like, because I remember you saying a few people hit me up and they wanted stuff drawn when I started posting those drawings, and I'm like, okay, I can do that. And then another person's like, well, what about this? Like, can you do this? I'm like, okay, I can do that. And then it just stacked up. I'm like, I don't think I can do all of it, but next time I do get into it, I'll draw something for you.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, send me some ideas, like
I will,
ideas you have. And
I mean, I've been drawing since I was a kid too. I was a good drawer as a kid and a good art student. I actually went to college partially for art, and I can do all that stuff. But I really do like your style, so it's very cool, and people should check it out and on your Instagram and stuff like that. It's cool. So
yeah, thank you, dude. Yeah, it's I'm really into like tattoo, like traditional tattoo. I mean, obviously, but
Yeah.
I'm into like traditional tattoo style, and I was trying to see if I can draw flashes. That's what it started as. I was like, I
Oh,
want to try to draw like a flash of like a castle or a wizard or some shit that kind of pertains to the type of music I make. And then I started doing that, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm every time I draw something, I'm like, wow, I surprised myself. So
it's funny
good
that
feeling.
you're talking about like people hitting you up for stuff, and you either like not having the time or wanting to or whatever. Is like when I was drawing a lot, that was the new thing because I was like out of high school. It was like that tattoo age of being
Mhm.
like 18 plus,
Yeah.
and so many people were like, "Well, you know how to draw. Draw me a tattoo." And I'm like,
Yeah.
nothing would make me happier than not drawing you that tattoo. Like,
Yeah.
fuck no.
Yeah.
And
For
so
sure.
many people, family members, friends, everything would be like, you gotta draw my next tattoo. And I'm like, I don't fucking want to do that at
Yeah.
all.
No, no, dude. I've drawn one thing for someone. No, actually two. I drew something for my girlfriend, and I drew something for my buddy Brandon. Shout out to Brandon. Um, and he said he's gonna get it tattooed. I'm like, I'm not gonna hold you to it. I don't care if you do or not, man. Like, I
Well, it's
really
one
don't.
thing if you have your style and they
Mhm.
go, I want you to draw your style and I'll tattoo it on my body. It's
Yeah.
different when they go to me and they go, hey, you can draw me a cross that says I love Jesus on it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what makes you think that I would want to do that?
Yeah, totally. You're like,
Like,
no, I don't, dude. I like, yeah, fuck, stuttering. Uh, my work partner, Josue, he just got into tattooing, and man, it's got to be fucking stressful, man. Like, I
yeah,
just like drawing shit on people's bodies, man. I'm like, I'll get a bunch of tattoos. I'm fine with that, but like,
yeah,
I am not. You got to be real confident to be able to draw some shit
yeah.
on someone's body that's going to be there forever. Like, right on, man, go for it. I don't want
I
to
don't know.
fucking do it.
I thought
Uh,
about doing it for a while. I like had a sketchbook, kind of like starting to like put this sketchbook together, and I was gonna go do an apprenticeship somewhere and all this kind of stuff. And I
mhm.
didn't end up doing it, and I was in college at the time and whatever. But it was like I like doing my shit that I like to do. But as soon as
Uh,
someone comes in there and asks me to draw a butterfly, I'd be like, this sucks. Why would I fucking want to
yeah,
do that?
yeah. They're like, draw a butterfly. You're like, what's a butterfly look like? It's like it goes out of your mind. You're like,
But it's like if
I
someone came up to you and you were like, well, you're a musician, so like write this pop song for me. You'd be like, why would you ask me to do that?
yeah, totally, totally. I know what you mean. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, I don't. I only want to draw what I want to draw, and
Yeah.
like for you, I can probably draw something for you. I can probably draw something for a few other people, but um, like my mom for her birthday, she asked me, she's like, can you draw me, and like our family dog passed away like a few months ago, or maybe it was like a year ago, I don't know, um but right after she had passed away, she's like, maybe you can draw your dog and me and you and Penny, the dog who passed away. Maybe you can just draw all of us. I'm like, I fucking can't do that, Mom. I'm sorry. Like, I can't. Like, I can
Yeah.
draw. I can think of something and draw something for you,
I
which I
can draw
did.
us all as skulls with fire in the
Yeah,
background.
exactly. Yeah, I can draw you all as aliens. Yeah, I can do that. But fuck. But I don't know. It's like one of those things. Like you can't tell a musician to like, hey. I mean, you can, and there's plenty of people that do it. But like,
Yeah.
hey, write this song. Like, you gotta want to do it, man. You can't
Right.
just, so
Yeah.
same with drawing, man. It's like sometimes I just can't draw what someone's trying. Like my sister for her birthday, I drew her a horse. All right, dude. So this horse looks fucked up, dog. Like, this horse is fucking a dumb ass looking horse. If I can find it, I'm not going to try to look for it. I'll send it to you.
Send it to
That
me. I'll put it up right now. I'll put it right down here at the bottom and we'll show everybody.
Oh my god, yo, this horse looks like a fucking big radioactive mouse. Like, I had never drawn a horse like this thing sucks, man. But she loved it. I'm like, all right, cool, right on,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
I got to the point after drawing and painting and stuff for a lot of years where like if people would ask me to do stuff, I'd just be like, no. If you want like a skull or something, sure. But if you
yeah,
want anything else, fuck you.
yeah,
And
you're like, I can
that
draw a
was it.
skull. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. But yeah, man, I actually drew my first skull for the first time like a couple months ago. I was like, wow, I had never drawn a skull. That's actually pretty fun,
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Back to basics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We're up on an hour. Let's do real or fuzzed.
Okay, let's do it.
So the story behind this one is when I first started Slightly Fuzzed, I think one of my first maybe my first post was this meme of like the guy that's sweating, going to push the two buttons. And it was like how a stoner band picks a name. And it was like choosing between something about Buffalo or something about acid.
Yeah.
And I mean, I probably could have put like Mammoth in there too or something, but I chose Buffalo and acid. And you commented, I don't get it, which was hilarious because your name clearly said Bloodshot Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I think that was like the very first post I ever made, which,
yeah,
it's funny. You've been there since the beginning.
Yeah,
so
dude. That shit's
I made a special round of Real or Fuzzed with just Buffalo named bands.
great.
I'm going to show you 10 Buffalo named bands, and you have to tell me if they're real or fuzzed.
Okay, let's see.
First one, Lord Buffalo.
That's real.
That's real.
Oh yeah.
I gave you one. All right.
Okay.
This was the gimme.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buffalo Bud Buster. The fur and the fuzz.
That's got to be fucking fake.
This is real. Shout out to Buffalo Bud Buster.
Buffalo Bud Buster. They play like local bars and shit. Looks like a local bar band.
Maybe they play in our genre. I think
no shit.
Me. Yeah.
Right
so shout out to them.
Sick. I'll check them out.
Yeah.
Looks like the label for a beer. Buffalo Acid.
Buffalo Acid.
It's got to be fake.
This is fake.
Okay. Yep. See, I was like, it's rad art, but but it looks like someone put it together. Yep.
Acid Buffalo.
That looks like something you would make, but I'm going to say it's real.
This is real.
Oh, fuck yeah. Right on. Looks like something out of the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Volcanic Rock Buffalo.
Volcano Rock Buffalo. You're telling me someone was like, yo, we should name our band Volcano Rock Buffalo.
Well, I think the name of the album is Volcanic Rock.
Oh,
the name of the band,
Volcanic. I thought you said Volcano.
The name of the band is Buffalo.
I'd say it's real.
This is real.
You gave yourself away, dog. You're like, the name of the album is Volcano.
You can't ask questions, all right?
Yeah.
Buffalo Telegram. Capture.
That looks like if that was a band, if that is a band, looks like they would tour with like Weezer or something. I'm gonna say fake.
This is fake. Damn it. I thought I could get you on that one.
I know a lot of bands, man. I don't know Buffalo Bud Buster, but I know a couple of them. Let's see.
Buffalo Tom.
That's a big ass head. It looks like my head. Big ass forehead. Is that real? I think that's real.
This is real.
Sweet. Okay.
Buffalo Lungs.
I don't think that's real.
You're saying fake? Fuzzed?
I'm saying fake. Fake. Fuzzed.
It is. It is fuzzed.
It's fuzzed, dude.
The White Buffalo. The Rapture.
The White Buffalo. The Rapture. Looks like a rockabilly band. I'm gonna say real.
It is real. What the fuck?
Dude. I've gotten one wrong. Okay, let's see.
Buffalo
Hoof. Dude, like, you weren't joking, man. There are a lot of Buffalo bands. Fuck, I'm not original at all. I'm gonna say real.
This is fuzzed.
Fuck, dude, you got me, dude. That's a good one. Looks real.
Yeah, that's it. You did pretty good. You missed two.
Okay, I missed two. I'll live with that. It's fine.
Yeah. There were some other gimmies, obviously like King Buffalo and stuff like that I didn't put in there. Buffalo Tombs, I think, is another one.
Yep.
You know, there's a handful, but I got you on 2.
Yeah, you got me on 2, dude. That was I've seen your podcast plenty of times, and I've seen that part. I'm like, what is he gonna do for me? What is he gonna do? Let's see.
It's getting harder. I think people are like on to the gimmick, and it's getting tougher. People are getting better. There's been a lot of like 2s and 1s lately.
Yeah, no, you got to come up with a. I don't know. I mean, that is hard because you got to come up with something. If you're going to come up with something new, it's like that's not really easy to come up with. But I like that you have that on your show, though. You have like that little.
Nice.
You have like a little game show kind of thing on the end. You know,
it's been fun, man. You know, sometimes the conversation is more serious than others and whatnot, and it's always at least a part of like levity where people are just like goofy as shit. Like there's no way to take it seriously, you know.
You should put like game show music over it.
Yeah, I need to like I could up a lot of things on here. Like I've tried to play videos and stuff before, and it's tough in this. I need like a producer to like help me out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you should look into it.
To figure this out.
I wish I could help with something like that because I can usually figure stuff out like that, but not all the time. I either know nothing about it or I can figure it out. So, but yeah, if you got a producer and had like a little game show going, dude, it'd be fucking cool. I'd sign up for that shit. It'd be rad. Yeah, dude.
So, is there anything else that you want to say about the new single, Red Star Blue Mass, or anything else? What we can expect from Dear Lord or Bloodshot Buffalo or anything else?
Well, I got some new merch coming for Bloodshot. It's like this. Well, you can go on my page and check it out. So if anyone wants it, but it's just got shirts, black shirts, white shirts with this new design this guy in Germany made, and I'm pretty stoked on it. And they're printed on super comfortable shirts, and yeah, dude, just that, and then hopefully a new album coming out next year. Hopefully a couple other singles I'll put out before then, and then Dear Lord got a bunch of shows in the North Bay, and there's a bunch of bands I've been hitting up saying that we'd love to open for them, and if they ever come to the North Bay, I'd love to open for them. Like Cadabra, I'd love to open for them. Yeah,
Cadabra's sick, man. I don't know if you saw that episode or not, but they were a lot of fun, and the album is awesome. So
totally, cool, totally, man. Yeah, there's like Cadabra and Resin and a couple other bands that Rickshaw Billy's Burger Patrol. I'd fucking love to open for those guys.
Yeah,
like there's a bunch of bands, but if any of you guys are coming to the North Bay, California, hit me up. Fucking, we would love to open for you guys, and yeah, but just gonna keep making music, man. Just gonna keep going.
We'll have you back on with Dear Lord next time, and everyone go check out your videos on Instagram.
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, fucking so stupid. Oh man, yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man. This was nice, dude.
Yeah, it was good to talk to you, man.
Yeah, you too, dude. Nice to meet you, and fucking, I hope the podcast keeps going and you get some more cool guests on, dude.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Awesome. Thanks, dude.